Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsockеtradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And a good morning to you. It is Coffee Ann time here on ON, AM, and FM. It's Wednesday morning, May 14th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan, going around the Coffee Ann table. Say good morning to John Ward. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Happy May 14th. I guess
thank
there's
you.
nothing special about that.
Nope. And Amanda LaRose from Navigant Credit Union.
Good morning.
Down, I'm like, is it the 14th?
Yes, how about that?
Oh my goodness.
Nice to have Amanda here from Navigant and Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities. So, Melissa, you're up first for a first message from the St. Antoine Communities.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know a lot about St. Antoine Community, we are a large long-term care campus located in North Smithfield, and we're right on the line of Blackstone, Mass. and Woonsocket. We have a variety of services available on our property, from assisted living to short and long-term skilled care. We have a state-of-the-art rehab facility, and then we have 2 levels of memory care. We have an assisted living memory care unit as well as a skilled long-term care memory care unit. So if you are interested in learning more about the services we have to offer you, or just understanding the placement process for a loved one, you can reach out to me at 401-767-3500 or email me at msmith@santantoine.net.
All right, then. We're glad Amanda could be here because, John, we don't have to do anything. So, girls, just start talking.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
this is great. Done. By the way, I'm not sure if I like this seat.
No?
It's the first time in this seat, and it's
Is it?
very.
Because
Yeah, but you
yeah,
got
yeah,
nothing
you-
in
Sat
behind
right
you.
behind you. See?
Do you
I
see
need
it?
to be a little shorter, right?
Well,
It's
well,
just,
you two can
I think what
discuss
she's
switching
saying
seats.
is she'd like to be in the driver's seat.
No,
and so
but she's
get-
usually
get
where you
out.
sit, Melissa.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's
so-
okay.
But this is the first time
I'll
she's
take over
there.
if you want.
Okay.
I know.
All right, let's go get a
Wait a
coffee,
minute.
John.
Wait a minute.
I feel like we
If-
need to survey the audience. We were having a discussion just before the show
If-
about Amanda and I taking over and making this like a female-based show today because we have so much to catch up on, and we could really use the advice of the listeners to help us with some of our little going-ons in our personal life. So if you would like this to be a female-based show today,
Vote
Wow.
one.
call in. We have a lot of things that we want to discuss without the boys present.
We've already we've been voted off the island.
I'm struggling with this because every week I get here, we usually open the show with something about sports. Whether it's
I'm okay with
and
that.
I was-
football or what. And
Yeah.
Pete Rose, after all these years, finally gets reinstated to
And
so that he could be eligible to get into the Hall of Fame, which he richly deserves.
yes,
And I know Shoeless Joe Jackson is there too, but Shoeless Joe did something a little different. I
Mm-hmm.
never realized Pete Rose, when he bet on his games, he bet on his team to win.
Yes.
Which means they
Yes.
still have to go win.
Right.
They can't throw the game. Where Shoeless Joe Jackson was rigging the game so that they would lose.
but that was
which-
never proven.
I know it was
And he
never
did-
proven,
and he
but
did
that was
very
the
well in that
allegation.
World
That was the
Series, so-
allegation.
How does this tie into Melissa and I having our own show today?
Thank you, Amanda.
Not at all.
He just totally hijacked the conversation.
Not at all.
Nope.
I'm just saying, every other week I come in and it's talking about sports to open the show. So
Yeah,
I thought I would just get that out of
Is
the way.
that because we didn't give you
So,
advance warning?
I'm just happy
that-
for Pete
Yes.
Rose. I'm happy for his family. I'm happy for everything associated with Pete Rose and his soon-to-be induction
We're gonna-
into the Hall of Fame. It's yours.
We're going to give you maybe 30 more seconds to talk about
I'm
whatever
done.
else you want to talk about.
done.
All right, and any thoughts on Jason Tatum rupturing his Achilles tendon?
I would like to comment on that.
Okay, go ahead.
So I shared in the air last year that I had ruptured a tendon in my foot, and it
Yep.
was the worst pain in my life.
Worse than childbirth?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I can different because there was no reward at the end. It was a very different. But when I saw that happen, I felt it. I
Yeah.
felt it immediately, and I think it really upset me greatly the next day to read a lot of the comments online, which people are just vicious anyways. But
What, Tommy's a wimp or something like
yep,
that? Get up and walk it off?
Oh, that's happened 3 or 4 times already this season where he's gone down and he's cried, and then he goes off and then he comes back in the next quarter, blah, blah, blah. He's such a,
All right.
whiny, whatever.
I thought that was LeBron James.
Well, they did compare him to LeBron as well. But I think what I was feeling for him is someone who had a slight tear to my tendon leading up to the big full rupture. Is he probably has been battling tears for a while, and he's probably been getting cortisone shots in that ankle trying to get through the season. The full rupture experience is like no other. I mean, it And I actually saw him curled up in a ball on the court, and
Yeah.
I said to myself, either he's going to pass out like I did, or he's going to throw up. And you're on live TV. I'm
thought
sure
you don't wanna throw
his
up, yeah.
headspace must have been all over the place because you know that everyone's watching you, and you know
Yeah.
you're in pain, and you it's a vulnerable moment. I just felt for him. It was tragic to watch, and I hate the fact that social media is ripping him up on this. And it's not the time or place. Like, it's a talented athlete that's possibly this could have been his maybe last game. We'll see. I don't know.
Well,
if
he's out for the season. That's already
he's
been
definitely out for the
determined.
season. But they said that with the Achilles, I was reading up on it because that is the most like painful tendon in your foot.
Okay.
That I guess psychologically for a lot of athletes that do rupture their Achilles, they can't come back because they can't get over the fear of
Fear of it happening.
Ripping it again.
ripping it again, but also
Wow.
the sensation of as soon as you arch your foot, and I have the same
Yeah.
problem right now. When I go to arch my foot, like I want to run again and I can't quite get there.
You worry.
It's psychological. It
Wow.
is.
Okay.
And you put tremendous pressure on your other foot, and then that one starts to hurt. And I just feel for him. It's going to be a long recovery. Okay, that was way long-winded.
Okay.
and
No,
sorry about that.
No, it's good. But even though there were pictures of him in a wheelchair
Yeah.
at Madison Square Garden, people still saying,
Yeah.
it's nothing.
And you know what? The other thing I'll just add, all of the different headlines, whether it's Barstools or ESPN, whoever it is posting, some are saying tear, some are saying whatever. It was stated
heard
by the
rupture.
Celtics, it was a full rupture, but
Yeah.
there is a difference between the two. So if you are calling him a wimp for a tear, okay,
Yeah.
maybe, but it's not. It's a full rupture, and so there's inconsistency in the headlines, and I think that also creates.
Oh, he had to have
doubt.
surgery. Did you have to have surgery?
I couldn't have surgery.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, but I blacked out and I got into a car accident.
I remember that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a big part of the story.
Yeah.
So I wasn't allowed to have you're supposed to have surgery within like 48 hours of rupturing.
Okay. Oh.
In order to try to recover it as best you can, and I couldn't because I was put on a heart monitor. So
Wow.
there was
okay.
so some drama to my story that he didn't have. I'm glad that he's going to have the best specialists all around him and the best
sure.
team of
They've already
physical
said
therapists.
the surgery was a success.
Yep.
So good.
And he's young. I'm old. There's a big difference.
He's 27.
Yeah.
And a professional athlete. so-
Exactly.
but they're still saying.
With infinite money. So
But
he's
he'll still have to overcome that psychological fear.
yeah.
yeah.
Because it seems like, and I've never had that experience, but I know other people who have, and they give me the impression that they're doing things that are fairly routine, and then bang, it just happens.
Just happens.
And
yeah.
you can't really identify a particular motion that triggered it. It's just there.
Yep.
And so it's so vague in what caused it, what move you made, so that every move you make after that point,
Yeah.
Yep.
you risk doing it again
Yep.
with
Nothing
but an expectation that the worst can happen. And
Yeah.
so I would think, like you say, you get nervous about it and you're cautious, where if you're a professional athlete and you're cautious in any of your effort,
Oh yeah.
you're no longer
you're
a
not gonna be any
professional
good.
athlete.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
in this case, it was a no contact. He didn't hit anybody from the
That's what I
Knicks.
mean.
He was
Just-
going for a loose ball,
Right.
Yep.
and then bang.
Well, I
I'm
remember
out.
I was watching a police versus firefighter game down at the high school last year, and Ed Cunanan was out there playing because he loves basketball, and he was out there and just out on the perimeter, and he went to grab the ball and just dropped like a rock to the ground, and I thought, I know what that is.
What was
It's
it?
an Achilles.
Oh, okay,
Sure enough,
same
that's
thing.
what it was.
Wow.
He wasn't getting up until they carried him off.
All right, Amanda, your kids looking forward to the end of the school year? Your child?
My child is looking forward to the end of the school year. She's a little nervous because now we're transitioning from elementary school to middle school.
Ooh. Is that sixth grade?
Yeah.
For her? Okay.
Yeah. So it's, a whole new world.
Mhm.
Buses now will be a thing, and lockers, and
Yep.
she's going to go from a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big
Big-
pond,
yeah.
and she's trying to overcome those emotions and fears.
Now, have they brought her class to the middle school?
No,
Take a look around?
They're
see what
having a
things are?
dance at the end of this month,
Okay.
where the sixth graders currently at that school will introduce to the fifth graders going into the school. So they'll be the current seventh graders with the current sixth graders. So they
Oh,
have
that's
a
a good ta-
nighttime
yeah.
dance, just a couple hours for them to kind of meet and mix
Mingle.
with other kids.
Okay.
So,
She looking
see.
forward to that?
jury's out.
For those of us that have all gone through the transition into middle school, let's have a moment of silence for Amanda. Because we all know what's to come.
The fun years are coming.
The fun years are, let's not call them the fun years. They are going to bring on the grays.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, Amanda was telling us, telling me off air, that your daughter's going to be part of the school talent show.
Yes.
And she's the finale. So
Yes.
and tell us
What
what
is her
song she's going
talent?
to sing.
She's singing. So my daughter plays the drums,
Yeah.
and she wanted to do drums for her talent show. And I said, we're not setting up your drum set. It would take too long.
Oh, my goodness.
In the middle of a talent show.
Yeah.
So she's singing a song called "She Used to Be Mine" by Sarah Bareilles.
You
I
do
love
it?
that song from
All right,
The
well-
Waitress.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
my God.
Yes.
Well, not the waitress.
Yes.
Oh, she
Yes.
is.
So she's working with my friend who's a singer to help her kind of get better. So when she went and auditioned, she came home and she said, "Oh, I did so good." And I said, "You did?" And I was like, "Oh, they probably told her she did really good." Like how people are kind.
You did fine.
Yeah, right. But the ladies actually messaged me and said that they blew her away. They were crying. It was such an emotional song, and she did
It
so
is.
good with that. And so she's the finale. So she went last night to do her dress rehearsal, and as we're leaving, all these parents are like, "You did so good," and I'm like, "It's my kid."
Are you prepared?
I am. I'm prepared. Yep.
You've got the tissues ready
Yep.
to go.
And then Sunday she has her final her drum concert at the Met. So they rent out the Met and they perform for people at the Met.
that is very
That's so
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Now, did you have to buy a special dress now for the singing?
No,
Thing?
she's
No.
gonna wear whatever's
Whatever
in
she
her
wants?
closet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if she
Where-
wanted
no.
something new. The
She
thing.
just had her family dance a couple weeks ago. I'm like, you can wear one of those dresses.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
More than
set
once.
set that tone early on.
Yes. Yes.
All right, that's really cool. Congratulations
Yes, thank
to your
you.
daughter. So I'm glad, and you said she's got absolutely no qualms about getting up in front of an audience and singing.
No, she's
'Cause that's
she's
can
a
be
she's a brave
tough.
kid. She can talk to anybody. She has no problems. So I think she'll be okay. I
Yeah.
just think it's the nerves of the unknown, right?
Okay.
Not knowing a school, not knowing a layout, not knowing certain. So not about kids.
Is
right?
this something
That
does,
takes just a few minutes to get over.
does someone accompany her on the piano or other instruments, or is this a cappella?
A cappella. So she has
Oh,
like
even
the
tougher. Oh, my
soundtrack behind
gosh.
her, but not
Oh,
words.
okay.
Just the musical soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez.
Have you
Good
guys
for
ever heard this
her.
song? I'm like,
Yeah,
No,
it's-
I
it
don't-
is an
I don't
amazing
know it.
song.
and
My husband cried when she sang it to us. Like it's just such a powerful song. So
Well,
It's a good
well,
musical, too.
Okay. And how did she pick this song?
she heard it on Alexa one day, and she's like, "Wow, this is a really cool
And I
song."
like it.
And she just started listening and over, and then she started singing. I was like, "Wow, like she can actually hit those notes." And some of them are like really low, and some of
Yeah.
them really high. And she didn't stop, and I was like, "Whoa."
Did she go like print out the lyrics, or did you just listen over and over?
Listened
she just,
over
I
and
got
over. Yeah, she listens to Alexa at night sleeping, and I think
Okay.
like it just buries in her brain. Like she'll wake up the next morning, she knows all these songs, and I'm like,
yeah, to
Yeah.
be young.
Well,
Yeah.
I can't even.
Well, good for
I
her.
can't make it through a whole song anymore without. Oh, wait a minute, what? Fumbling over different words.
All right, we got a note called in 766-1240.
Oh,
It's
this
got
is it.
no, it's
Boys,
got
get
nothing.
out.
It's nothing to do with the ladies taking over. It's back to Shoeless Joe Jackson,
Oh,
and
God.
so back to sports. Shoeless Joe hit over 300 11 years in a row, including one year where he hit 408. So they're basically saying he didn't throw anything, even though he was part of the Black Sox scandal.
Right.
Back,
no,
back then,
I'm
so.
not saying he's not worthy of on his record. I'm just saying the stories told are
Yeah.
two different stories. One is he was betting on himself to win, which is just not cheating anybody. It's just
Mm-hmm.
pushing yourself to win. The other side, if the allegation were true, and we don't know that.
Yeah, they were betting to
if he
lose.
was trying to rig a game so that they would lose,
Yeah.
that's not exactly an honorable thing to do.
All right, we're going to take our first break here in the Coffee and program, but more coming your way with the ladies and John and me. But Melissa, time for a second message from the St. Antoine community.
I could do a John Cleese thing if you'd like to.
That's okay.
Choking up. Please don't. So my second message today, I think I'll talk about why the back of my car is loaded chock full right now. I was wondering if any of you guys thought that I was moving out or my kid is going to college early. That's not the case. I have everything in my car right now to run back to St. Antoine Community. We just renovated our respite suite. And so we're excited to redecorate it, refresh it. For those of you that don't know a lot about a respite stay in a long-term care facility, it's really an opportunity for someone to test the waters. That's one reason that you might come in and ask for like a visit with us just to see what the placement process is going to be like, what the food's going to be like, what the staff's going to be like, before you fully commit to moving into our community. The other reason is sometimes there's emergencies that happen and you end up in rehab and you're just not equipped to go back home right away. So it's an opportunity to transition into our respite suite and stay a little longer till you feel a little more confident and a little stronger. And another reason might be your family might have to go on vacation and maybe they're afraid to leave you, home alone by yourself. So it's a chance for you to come in and stay with us and hang out with us and consider it a mini vacation while your loved ones are away. Whatever the reason is, our space is freshly renovated, new flooring, new wall coverings, all the bells and whistles in the apartment are ready to go, and then my car is filled with all the bedding and the fun stuff. So if you are interested in coming to check it out, give me a couple days to make it perfect. I'd be happy to give you a tour and let you see what it looks like and understand how to sign up to stay with us for a respite visit. You can call me at 401-767-3500. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Melissa. More of the Coffee and program coming your way. Stick around.
Integrity, trust, service. 3 words that sum up what you can expect from the Carew Investment Group at 2190 Mendon Road in Cumberland, Rhode Island. Established in 1987, we've been helping local investors to build wealth and guide them through their golden years of retirement using quality stocks of companies that you know, many of which pay quarterly dividends. We also use investment-grade bonds and low-cost exchange-traded funds. To find out more about our services and for a quality conservative approach to investing, call us at 765-8880. Integrity, Trust, Service. The Carew Investment Group. Securities offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC, and advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
We're local and live at 99.5 FM.
Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith, Amanda LaRose, and John Ward. And tonight, the Woonsocket School Committee meeting is going to meet, John, and they're going to, under new business, they're going to discuss and do the discussion and the approval of the fiscal year 2026 general budget. Now, can they do this even though, have they received the budget from the city yet?
Well, no, they have.
Okay.
They received the budget that they then previously presented to the city. So the city is just regurgitating what they gave them. The only thing that could have changed on the city budget would have been to propose an increase in the local share, which is not proposed in this budget from the city. But the school department, the school committee has to pass a budget again and possibly a third time. But they'll have to pass a budget again based upon the changes to the state aid formula based on student enrollment counts that was done in March after they prepared their first budget. And so the changes in the state aid number, which is different than the city's budget number reflects, and the changes in the tuition cost that was simply finalized in March for students attending charter schools in the mayoral academy have to be incorporated into a revised budget that they'll be acting on. And then again, when the General Assembly finally passes a budget and the city finally passes its final budget, then come June, they will have to put a final budget together that reflects the reality.
Okay. So what will they be discussing tonight?
They'll probably be discussing the state aid number changing.
Yeah.
They might discuss the tuition numbers going up by almost the tuition per student for charter schools in Mayoral Academy going up from 900 and change to 2,000 and change.
Okay.
So that's going to
Wow.
have a profound impact on their expenditures. That might be part of the discussion.
All right. Moving on to other things right now, and I don't know. This probably affects myself and Melissa and Amanda and not John.
Okay.
But
I'm paying attention.
because everything just every day seems to be there's another story and another story and another story, and that we're going to sue the Trump administration. And to me, it's all become white noise now, and I just don't care anymore. Now, John, you might be different on that, and you're looking at every single lawsuit, where the rest of us are like, another one, who cares?
Well, it's sad to
you
think
feel that way?
it's sad to think that we're saying who cares,
I
because we
know.
should care about every
It's
single
on- but it's-
accusation.
But it's every single day there's a new
I'll
lawsuit.
put it in compliance with FCC regulations. I don't give a flying fig.
Okay.
No, but this, if you remember, when he got elected,
Yes.
what did John Ward say on this show? You watch.
I didn't remember one.
He will be tied up in court every day of this new term. And there would be court cases coming flying out of the Democrat
Yeah.
side and every other place. And it is held.
all come true.
It has all come true and
All
in
right.
spades.
Amanda, is it all white noise for you?
Don't really care.
See, it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what it's
I'm
come
not
down
paying
to.
attention to the details, but
Yeah.
you can't but help to hear
So I'm
the
just
background
curious
noise that
Right.
comes from it.
Yeah.
when you say coming from the Democratic side, I don't know that it is just Democratic side.
Well,
I think it's
Democrat attorney generals across the country that are filing most of these lawsuits about funding cuts that have been done through Doge and through all of these other efforts that they contend requires legislative action, which the Trump agenda, the Trump administration is pushing through legislation, the big, beautiful bill they're trying to get passed, that will incorporate all of these cuts into it. So the Attorney General of Rhode Island, the Attorney General of many of New York State, Illinois, all of the Democrat majority states are the ones that are filing these lawsuits.
But I'm hoping that you're going to agree with me saying that it should also be the attorney generals that are Republicans.
It should
because
be,
it should
if it's affecting their
this really
states,
should
but it's
not
not
be like
affecting
a
the states.
party division at all. This should be people making the right decision on behalf of their departments that are getting slashed, that are providing necessary services.
Okay, yeah. Well, if you're functioning in the fantasy land of non-political, everybody's doing the
I am.
things.
I am totally functioning in the
doing,
fantasy land of that.
If everybody's doing things based exclusively on moral implications, absolutely.
I think we absolutely should be acting that way right
and
now.
at the national level and at the state levels of government, that never happens.
I know it'll never happen, but I'm hopeful, and I do live in fantasy land, that it's going to change. It has to change because this is exhausting.
Well, it's not going to change. But the good thing about it is by having this opportunity to fight back, I mean, that's what the courts are all about.
Right.
And so the whole basis of how we do business is nobody's looking out for the general interest. They're all looking out for their interest. And so in that conflict, you need a court.
Yeah.
And you have a court, and we do have a court. And that's where the battle is tested to see who's going to come out with. But I think the important thing is by the time it gets to the end of it, he's going to have tried to pass his budget bill, which will incorporate much of this if it gets through. And I have my doubts about many aspects of that. So the courts will say it's a moot question because we've got a budget and there we go. Some of it he can win on because of the Constitution. Some of it he's going to lose on and should lose on. But he's trying to make a point, and I think, as I've said many times, he's trying to get a lot of this done because he knows he'll probably lose the majority in the House and possibly the Senate at the midterm election. And so the more he can get accomplished that he wants to accomplish, the better the chance that they might hold the majority in the midterm election, or that it won't matter as much because he can block whatever they do. The interesting thing, honestly, is what he's trying to do in the Middle East, which unfortunately, out of 3,000 years of history, he's trying to fix everything in 4 years. He's actually removing all of the embargoes and restrictions and economic limitations they've placed on Syria. He's removing all of that because he wants to give the new government a chance. But he's doing it not just for trying to find an ally in Syria, whose leader was a leader of Al Qaeda. But I think he's trying to influence Iran because they're also very negative towards the United States, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to influence their decision making and bring it, like he said, he's claiming to try to have them focus more on commerce, not chaos, and constantly at war with one another. But he's trying to fight 3,000 years of history. And
Tough.
I don't know how well that'll work. It might work for 2 years. I don't know if it'll work forever.
Now, Melissa, you mentioned how the attorneys general should all be both sides of the aisle. Well, Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Nerona, who is a Democrat, he's leading a coalition of 20 other attorneys general. But I don't have the information of where are all they, Democrats or Republicans, in one of the latest lawsuits. So, just don't know. Just don't know. Something that the Rhode Island House Representatives did last night, lawmakers have unanimously rejected Governor Dan McKee's proposal. He wanted to give cabinet raises to 11 of his cabinet people, and they said no. And John's applauding that that negative, saying no, and unanimously.
You know what? It may be meaningless, though, because in order for them not to get raises, both houses have to vote no intentionally on the question as a resolution. If the Senate does nothing, they get the raises.
But will it go to the Senate to vote?
It has to.
Oh, okay.
Every time he proposes raises for his directors, they either do nothing, in which case they get raises, or both houses have to vote no in order for them not to get the raises. And so if the Senate if Val Lawson decides that her membership won't get a chance to vote on this, because that's what Senate presidents get to do, if she works out a deal with the governor, then she sits back and does nothing. Of course, that would anger Joe Shekarchi, who's going to be the next governor anyway. So she needs to play that. First. She needs to play that game carefully.
You don't think Peter Nerona is going to be the next governor?
No, not a chance.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I know. I can't think of 5 votes he'll get out of Woonsocket after he sued us for $2.9 million because of a sewage leak.
Oh, that's true.
And is extorting things from us in the process of trying to settle it. So, no, he doesn't have a chance.
All right. Other things going on. A man from Rhode Island has pleaded guilty in federal court up in Boston. He was involved in a $35 million money laundering scheme. $35 million. He ran a virtual CFO business from his home, laundering money by creating shell companies and opening fraudulent business bank accounts between 2019 and 2021. All right, Amanda?
That's a short amount of time.
Yeah. Amanda, you're in the banking business. Well, don't tell us how, but
no, please tell us how.
How is he getting around it? How is he fooling the banking institutions by setting up these fraudulent bank accounts, fraudulent businesses?
I would have to say that, he probably had some really good software to make fake documents and fake business documents because legally we need to see certain documents through the state website. And so unless he was taking the chump change and paying for the documents to go to the state, right, to be a registered state business, which he could have, it's $230, $300, $500. That compared to what he was making was probably decent.
Yeah.
That would be probably the only way that he could have done that, unless he was forging stuff. But if he was forging stuff, then there's more charges that are going to come against him for that too.
Wow. So it was him. His name is Craig Clayton, by the way. So him and others used his business as a front to launder proceeds of an internet fraud schemes. Doesn't say exactly what the fraud schemes were. And he pleaded guilty to 1 count of money laundering and conspiracy, 1 count of obstruction of justice. He's going to be scheduled for his sentencing in August.
Now, can you imagine if he used all that evil for good?
Good.
What we would be doing in this world, right? Oh man.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. You're right.
All right. Break time once again here on the Coffee and program. More coming your way. Time for the forecast being brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance.
More clouds than sun today with a high of 70 degrees and a calm wind. Tonight, 50% chance of a shower or thunderstorm, mainly after 2 a.m. Cloudy skies, overnight low of 57. Thursday's weather, 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, cloudy skies, 68. Thursday night, slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm, mostly cloudy skies, 59. Friday, Looks like partly sunny skies with a high of 80. Saturday, 60% chance of showers before 11 a.m. and then just the odd shower later on. Mostly cloudy all day Saturday with a high of 75. Rain also possible Saturday night. Sunday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 75. Monday, mostly sunny and 69. And Tuesday, mostly sunny, high of 66.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, mostly cloudy skies and 63 degrees. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
They've reopened. The Museum of Work and Culture has reopened. That's great news. The museum is resuming regular visiting hours, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Friday, and 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Come explore the lives of immigrants at home, work, and school through the museum's 9 immersive exhibits. Admission is still just $10 for adults, $8 for students, seniors, and veterans, and free for children 10 and under. And free audio tours are still available to all guests. Tickets to the Museum of Work and Culture can be purchased at the door or online at rih.simpletix, that's Tix.com. The Museum of Work and Culture is located in Market Square, 42 South Main Street, Woonsocket.
This is Gary Smith. Join me for Do You Remember, Tuesday through Friday at 9 a.m. here on ON, AM, and FM radio.
It's Coffee and on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Melissa Smith, and Amanda LaRose from Navigant Credit Union. And Amanda, time for a first message from Navigant.
Perfect. Thank you. So I wanted everybody to be aware that we rolled out something new on our platform or our app this couple of weeks ago. It's called Savvy Money. It is an ability to pull your credit score daily to see if it is updating or where your credit lies, as well as there's a simulator tool. So if you're looking to take a new loan and you want to see how that's going to impact your credit score, or you wanted to pay down your debt or take out a new credit card, you can plug all those differences in there and it'll actually tell you what your credit score could be after you do those things. It's a great tool for us to have at the credit union, especially when we're talking about loans and improving your credit, as well as there's a feature about goal setting. So if you're deciding that you wanted to go on vacation within a year, and we work in a bank, we don't do math, but if you wanted to know how much money you should be saving each week or bi-weekly or monthly, you can actually plug your goal right into the system and it'll tell you how much you should be saving monthly, and it can set that up for you so that way it tells you a percentage and keeps you on track to your goal. So those are two new things available on our online banking platform. If you have any questions, you can visit our branches or call our contact center at 401-233-4700. Otherwise, you can visit our website, www.navigantcu.org.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. All right, well, they're trying to put through a bottle bill in Rhode Island, and there's many people against it. And
Of course.
we have it in Massachusetts.
Yep.
Works just fine. I don't know why people are so against it down here in Rhode Island. Does anyone have a good reason or any reason why people are so against this?
Because it will affect liquor sales for nip bottles. I tried to get an assembly member to consider simply banning nip bottles and not allow the sale of liquor in anything under a 4-ounce or an 8-ounce container, pint container, and you just don't do that because, and I've never done it, but if you stand at the counter and watch in a liquor store, how many people come in and will buy a dozen nip bottles, and then they go out in their car and they drive down the road and they drink one and throw it up. There's too many liquor stores that depend on the sale of nip bottles.
Okay.
And they will fight you tooth and nail at the General Assembly to stop you from doing anything that would limit those sales.
So raising the price by 10 cents is going to stop the sales?
Yeah. It's going to hurt the sales. And then they'll have to
You
collect
think so?
And if you sell the stuff, don't you have to collect the bottles too?
Well, in Rhode Island, impose the 10-cent tax. Supporters said consumers would be reimbursed at specific bottle return locations, not necessarily at the liquor store where you bought your nip bottles.
I don't know. I guess I frankly don't pay that much attention to what goes on in Massachusetts. I do pay attention to the fact that people come around at 4 o'clock in the morning and raid your recycling bins trying to find cans, and sometimes leave a mess behind because they then carry the cans over into Bellingham and cash them in.
In Mass, you cannot bring empty liquor bottles back to the grocery stores that have the machines.
Yes,
it's a question. You have to bring them back to the liquor stores.
Massachusetts is a very stupid state when it comes to liquor.
When it comes to what?
When it comes to liquor, it drives
In
me
what
crazy
way?
when you go to Wegmans up in Northborough.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that where it is? You'll notice at Wegmans, if you go to Wegmans anywhere else where humans actually live that have rational thinking process,
wow,
they sell liquor, wine, booze, beer in the store, and it's blended into the layout of the store so it matches up with features that make it attractive. For instance, when you go to buy wine, do you know where you find the wine in the Wegmans somewhere else?
In the wine aisle?
Among all the cheeses and the breads and all those things.
That makes sense.
They make pairing recommendations as well.
Yes, and you go to Massachusetts, and you have to go.
That is Massachusetts.
No.
He's describing the other ones.
The other
okay,
ones.
okay.
If you go into Massachusetts, where these geniuses live, they have a supermarket, and then they have
a liquor
separate structure where there has to be a divide between the two, and when you walk into it, all of the liquor's in there, but nothing but liquor. And the grocery store is over here, so for marketing, the store isn't allowed to maximize the benefit of having intermingled products that complement one another. They get screwed because the bureaucratic idiots in Massachusetts require that you can't sell liquor inside a supermarket.
But I have seen that though. Of course, the Roach Brothers.
You can see
the
beer.
The wine too was inside the store.
Market Fresh Sutton as well.
Yeah.
They have both. They have it next, and then they have pairing recommendations throughout the store, and that's Massachusetts.
Well, then I don't know why Wegmans does what it does
the
up
way
in
it's
Northborough.
That seems like a letter opportunity.
But it's a stupid layout, frankly.
But in Mass as well, if you bring your bread and your cheese and your bottle of wine, and you got a 16-year-old kid bringing it out, as soon as they get to liquor, whoa, hands up, and they got to call somebody.
I love it.
I
love it. Card me.
And
Like,
no,
make me
they're
feel
not carding you.
Right.
They can't sell
that
it
too,
to
but
you.
they also consistently at grocery stores will card you regardless of how old you look, which
Yes.
I love.
Yes.
Thank you.
I
Thank you for
still
asking.
get-
Anytime, card me.
Yep.
I still get carded even if I'm with my son and grandson. But the interesting thing is first time I went to Massachusetts to a BJ's and I bought liquor.
They go look at it.
And then I went to self-checkout. No. You can't use self-checkout when you're buying liquor. You have to go to the register where there's a person there so that they can check your ID.
But you can in New Hampshire go to because I did this. I went to Walmart has liquor inside Walmart's in New Hampshire, and I went to the self checkout at the Walmart. Of course, everything stops.
And then somebody has to come over and check
lights,
your ID.
lights go off and bells go off, and someone has to come over and check your ID, and then they get their little thing that says it's okay. He can purchase this.
Yeah.
And then I immediately handed the bottle to my 16-year-old daughter. Here, carry this.
Exactly.
Just to make them mad.
Exactly.
All right. That's what's going on in Rhode Island with the bottle bill and the people against it. Just a bizarre story down in.
By the way, one little footnote, and I don't know if it's still there, but it was when I was out in New York in the 70s. If you go to a liquor store in New York and it's a liquor store, the only thing they can't sell beer and wine in a liquor store at the time in New York. Only distilled spirits.
That's like New Hampshire.
Beer and wine was in the supermarket.
Yeah. New Hampshire's like
that's
that.
how New Hampshire is.
And matter of fact, one time I went to a liquor store and I was looking for a bottle opener for a wine bottle, and I said, "We sell liquor here." Oh, nothing else? No, we're not allowed to. Only liquor. No bottle openers, no chips, no nothing. Just liquor.
When I was going to school,
They're all crazy.
When I was going to school out in Idaho, and I was telling them how you couldn't buy back then. You couldn't buy liquor on Sundays. No beer back here, and they looked at me. Why? Well, what do you do? I said, we could do a lot of planning. And you can buy a lot on Friday and Saturday, so you mix it all the way through Sunday. And then they said, well, what's the reasoning for this? I said, do you really want to know? And I said, yeah. I said, it's because of the pilgrims, basically. So, and they laughed at that. So okay. All right, bizarre story out of New Bedford. This 26-year-old woman, she's facing charges including assault with a deadly weapon, destruction of property, and attempted arson. She showed up at a federal building in New Bedford, took out an American flag, poured gasoline on it, and tried to set it on fire. I have no reason why she was doing this. And then she tried to ram her SUV into the building. So something's going on there that she's not happy with.
Free speech?
Could be, I guess. So while the American flag is on fire, and then the officers arrived, that's when she jumped into her SUV and ran it into the building. No reported injuries, not even her. So it's just weird of the things that some people do. So speaking of weird, there was no testimony in the Karen Reed trial yesterday. It was postponed.
Yeah.
Quote, unavoidable circumstances, unquote. Could be anything.
Could be anything.
Sounds medical.
It does, but they won't give you any more information. No further explanation was offered. So today is the 15th day of the trial as it moves along, and
maybe the judge had a migraine. You never know.
Maybe they had to get another courtroom. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, and the jury has all the information for the naked fat tests. I guess they had closing arguments yesterday, and so now it's in the hands of the jury to find out what happens to this guy.
I love
North
the
Kingstown.
defense's closing argument was about the fact
What they say?
that yeah, he admitted what he did, but it's not a crime. Huh?
Then why are you on trial?
Well, because the level of the charge, I guess he's claiming, is beyond what actually took place because of the volunteer nature of it, because there was no motivation of any sexual intent in it. So they're trying to argue that there was no bad reasons to do it. It was actually looking out for the best interests of the athletes, and therefore it was, if it violated the law, it was an innocent violation and not a motivated attempt to do something sexual. So that's apparently their argument. And
Well,
so
they
they're
had
looking-
some former students argue that point, and
Yeah.
that he did
No, he just
this
did it
was
for-
a good thing for me
Yeah, well,
in their sports career.
yes.
Only a few. There were a lot more that were against it. All right. You know, it's summertime when you get when the first great white shark of the season is spotted off the coast, and it was spotted off of Nantucket. So exciting, huh? So the public is warned the first great white shark has been seen. Experts from the New England Aquarium said white sharks will now be around through the fall looking for seals and other prey. Swimmers are advised to avoid areas where there are seals or where schools of fish are visible.
Did you hear about that? People are asking for the shark teeth if we find them in the beaches in Rhode Island because they want to study them. So they're looking to pay off people for their shark teeth.
I heard that one was found.
Yeah. There was one found last summer by a little boy.
Okay.
And then there was another one found. I know this because my husband, has to research all this. But he said they're looking for people that find shark teeth in Rhode Island.
Okay.
To make them.
Give them to who?
The Institute for Marine Biology.
Down at URI?
I'm not sure if it's URI or a bigger group.
All right.
But there was an article about it.
Is it the group that has the shark plates as the sponsor?
No. I wish I knew because my husband would tell me what it is right now. But they're looking for people to, if they find shark teeth in Rhode Island, to let them know because they want to study it since we've never had shark teeth in Rhode Island because the plate shifted and it's this huge phenomenon right now.
All right. So if you're walking along the beach
and you find a shark tooth, keep it.
How do you know it's from a shark?
Oh, do you know? You have to put a flashlight on it.
And then
at
what
night.
happens?
So you look at night with a flashlight and it's supposed to
illuminate?
Yeah, but it's dark black. I don't know. Listen,
I've looked way more than I even.
I've looked for shark teeth for like 3 years on my girls' trip vacations, and I've never found one, even though I probably have walked by 100 of them in South Carolina.
Well, probably, yeah.
But
it's just buried and
yeah.
there's no metal detector that will detect one.
Right,
correct.
So you just got to see it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they tell you, like, go out at night with a flashlight, and it kind of illuminates, and you know it's a shark tooth, and I'm like, I still don't know. But if you find one, keep it, because they're going to pay you a lot of money
Isn't
for
it
it.
Shark Month?
is
Or
the-
Shark Week? What aren't we approaching that right now? Isn't it?
Oh, it seems to be Shark Week on the
No,
Discovery
not
Channel.
yet.
I feel like it's
Not
coming
yet.
up. I thought I had just heard something about
What is it?
It is the Atlantic Shark Institute,
See?
which is the group that has the license plate, shark license plates, sponsoring for the charitable
I'm
donation.
very impressed. You
I
listened
was
to your
halfway
husband at one
there.
point.
Oh yeah, I saw my daughter-in-law posted a thing on her Facebook or Instagram or whatever about a mother standing there saying, or no, a person standing there looking out to the sky and saying, "How is it that mothers only get one day and sharks get a whole week?"
It's true.
All right, we're going to take another break here in the Coffee and program. So, Amanda, time for a second message from Navigant Credit Union, please.
Thank you. So we are hosting some more fraud awareness seminars this year throughout the state of Rhode Island. So we have one coming up in Smithfield at our YMCA in Smithfield. It's May 27th at 11 a.m. There is space that is limited, and I do have a couple seats left over. So if anybody would like to come, please email me at alarose@navigantcu.org or reach out to our contact center to get in touch with me at 401-233-4700. Our other ones will be throughout the rest of the year. We have one in August and one in November.
Very good, Amanda. Thanks. More of the Coffee and program coming your way. Stick around. Car accidents are the worst, but they do happen. And if it happens to you, then you need to get that vehicle to Cody's Auto Body of North Smithfield. Since 1969, Mike and the staff of Cody's Auto Body has been your collision repair specialist. And after the repair is done, Cody's will finish the job with expert auto painting to match the rest of your car. So if the worst happens, bring your car to Cody's Auto Body across the street from the North Smithfield Fire Station on St. Paul Street, North Smithfield.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
All right, Coffee and here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and Amanda LaRose and John Ward. And remember, things could always be worse. This story out of Lincoln, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Let's make that the distinction. Lincoln, Massachusetts.
So not Rhode Island.
Not Rhode Island.
Okay.
The wife of the Lincoln, Massachusetts police chief, Sean Kennedy, reportedly needed stitches to close a head wound after he allegedly shoved her in their home. So the police chief is allegedly beating up his wife.
Excellent.
Isn't that nice?
Well, you don't know. Maybe he shoved her in because he had to go to the bathroom or there was a bear outside. You don't know why he shoved her in.
All right. Playing devil's advocate.
I'm
Thanks, Amanda.
playing devil's advocate
All right.
in this case.
I'm shocked by that response, actually.
Because we all assume, and we should
All
not
right.
be assuming. We should wait for the facts.
Well,
Is
there's more facts.
Oh, wait, go ahead now. Wait, yeah.
You might want to change your tune. Kennedy's wife reported the incident to the police on Saturday, saying she was thrown into a wall by the chief during an argument.
Well, then throw him in the cell.
All right. The woman also told Westwood Police, because they live in Westwood, Massachusetts, that they have been married for 28 years, and this was not the first time he's been physical with her. Kennedy has been suspended as the Lincoln police chief and is free on $1,500 bail.
You know what? I give her credit, though, for reaching out and reporting it, because sometimes when you have a spouse or a loved one in a police world, you may not
so
want to report it.
connected, and so,
And so good for her to reach out. Hopefully something happens.
Well, he's on leave right now, so okay. Let's see.
Which is that the best thing if they're still living in the same house together?
I'm actually shocked that it was a $1,500. That seems so low for
the crime.
the violence for the crime accusation. But allegation.
All right. Down in Georgia, a new law is in place. It will legalize human composting. All right.
Oh, Lord.
Brian Kemp, who's the governor, signed a bill this week that will allow funeral homes to make human composting facilities. The CEO of a Washington-based company called Recompose told Atlanta News First that the option allows people the choice to return to Earth when they die. More than a dozen other states have legalized human composting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We came close to something similar in Rhode Island
Yeah.
because when I served on the Industrial Facilities Corporation board, there was a proposal brought to help fund and support a company who wanted to do incineration of human waste, not human waste, but
Human bodies.
human surgical waste
okay.
byproducts, like if you remove a kidney or
Okay.
heart transplants or whatever those body parts are. When they dispose of them right now, I don't know where they go.
Mhm.
For all I know, your used up heart goes in Johnston, for all I know.
So you can't burn it?
But they wanted to create an incinerator over in Johnston near the landfill, and then it was supposed to go down into Warwick or West Warwick, and it was fought tooth and nail at the State House because I guess people were grossed out by the concept, and so it got rejected and it never happened. But there are composting facilities around the country, and there's incineration facilities around the country that allow you to do that.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's fabulous. I
know
still
some
struggle
people,
with-
they put their ashes once incinerated into like a tree, and then they
yeah,
plant it
they'll
at
put them
somebody's
in a tree ball,
Yeah.
and they'll plant the tree.
Yeah.
Other states have this. I saw this down in New Jersey, and it's basically you decide to donate your body after you've died. You donate your body some college, and they take the body and they put it like in a field, and students come to watch the body decompose. And just and they study it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's fascinating.
It is.
I think a fascinating selection would be to have once your body is burned, to take the ashes and blend it in with a bucket of chum, so that you're then feeding a great white
The
shark
sharks.
off the coast. And as you're ingested into the shark, you become part of the shark. And many of those sharks live hundreds of years, so you could take on a whole new life.
Good planning. Good idea.
That went like
Look at
sideways.
Melissa's
I know,
face.
she's
That
not,
went sideways really quickly.
I know where you were going with that,
I
but it got
didn't either.
really weird. Really, really, really
You could probably
weird.
do that without a law if you want to go out and feed the sharks.
You probably could. But if you could, well, Roy Scheidt is no longer with us.
Nah,
but
that's
if
right.
you could get him to throw the chum out there, it would be especially
So
memorable.
speaking of keeping it with the dead bodies, there's
Oh, wow.
a man in Indiana. A man is accused of digging up a grave to steal from it in Fishers, Indiana. Police first located a suspicious vehicle when doing routine patrols near the Oak Lawn Memorial Gardens Monday night, which is the cemetery. Officers say 24-year-old Seth Davidson showed up to the car covered in dirt. Davidson allegedly told police he dug up an urn that had a gold ring on it, which he knew about because he worked at the cemetery previously. He's charged with cemetery mischief, criminal trespass, and theft. Wow.
That's an interesting charge. Cemetery mischief.
That's a
Is that
What
a
is
legal
wrong
charge?
with people?
That's-
It's been a while since I've said that.
what's wrong with people?
Yeah.
Well, you know,
been a bit since I've used that line,
it's a
but-
gold ring and it's worth money. And
Give
why
me-
are we burying you?
Give me
with
a
gold
week.
ring?
I'll bring a list back.
I know. There's at least one story you share
It's a
per,
big
per
list.
show that I have to say that.
I know.
Yeah.
I like finding the really bizarre things that are
I
going
know.
on.
How do you find those, by the way? Is there a website
We
that
have
just posts all the most
yeah. It's
strange
called
It's called the news.
It's called the news. It's called news you
This
can.
seems to be a special selection of.
It's called news you can abuse, and they look for the just
Is that what it
bizarrest things out there, like Kim Kardashian testifying in Paris.
Yeah.
The people that broke in and tied her up and
That's
stole
still
her
going
jewels.
on? Wasn't
well,
that,
she's still testifying. Yeah.
God, that was like 10 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was.
Oh, you're
Feels-
so close.
We've all moved on.
It's 2016.
Get
that,
out.
that the burglary took place.
Yeah.
Look at me keeping up on my
Keeping up with the
entertainment news.
Keeping up with the
You're with the
Kardashians.
Keeping up
Kardashians.
Well, you know.
for the record, I am not a Kardashian fan. I just happened to be guessing the right.
If someone stole your $4 million engagement ring, I think you'd want to go testify against them.
From which fiance? From which husband?
That's from Kim. That's from ex Kanye West.
Okay.
But doesn't she have enough money to get another one? And I'm sure insurance kind of.
I don't know.
Who knows? Do you
Last
even
time
bother
I-
with insurance when you're that rich?
I don't know.
Last time I cared about what a Kardashian said was in a trial out in Los Angeles. After that, it's all just white noise.
All right.
Don't
Were
care.
the panel, were you fans of the TV show The Office?
Yes.
Yes.
John?
No.
Okay. Well, there's
Witty
this is-
humor, and
this is why.
I would have thought you would have said yes on that. Okay.
well, there's going to be a new series, a new spin-off series from The Office.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm worried about that too.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's
Who's
just,
who,
it's not going
who
to go
are the
well.
people?
Well, it's going to be called The Paper instead of The Office. It's going to premiere this September. Original Office cast members. I just got their real names, so I don't know their characters'
Okay.
names. Oscar Nunez. Who did he play?
Didn't he play actually
no.
Oscar?
Oh, was it Oscar?
I think
Yeah.
Oscar played Oscar.
All right. Other cast members include Domna Hall Gleason and Sabrina Impacciatore. Okay.
Cool.
The show will follow the staff and publisher of a historic Midwestern newspaper as they try to revive it. The exact premiere date, which will be on Peacock, will be announced at a later
Can we
date.
just have an
So
original idea?
That's actually a movie from 1994. The Paper.
Well, the paper was really good with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
That was a
But
great
is that what
movie.
they're spinning
That
it
was a
off
good
of?
movie.
No.
About financial distress and trying to save it?
I guess so. It's a historic Midwestern newspaper. They're trying to revive it.
That's what it says.
I
right
would be
here.
more apt for
Wow.
that story plot if it
But it's
was sort of off of that.
Except this is comedy and that wasn't.
Right.
I don't know. All right, this is weird. Do some more research. Get back to us next week.
Oh, yeah, I'll do
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Can you phone me in so I can answer?
Let's see.
I
anything good?
get irritated when they send those shows to Peacock or Paramount
yeah.
Plus, and then if you don't pay the super high price for the service, you end up having to watch commercials. And
Yep.
part of having it on regular networks is I can record it and skip through the commercials. And I really get irritated waiting through 2 minutes of commercials. I become impatient.
Such is life now, right?
It
Irritated
is.
at 2
I
minutes of
just-
commercials when back in the day, that's what we live
But
for.
you know what? It gives me a sense of how important those shows really are to me, because you'd be amazed at how easily I simply stop being interested in the show
Yeah.
if I'm not going to be able to watch it on my terms.
And now with some of those commercials on the streaming, the thing stops and you have to pick which one you want. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
No.
That even
It
makes
gives
it,
you- it's
that
like
makes
the-
it less interesting
It's
to me.
it's usually the progressive commercials with Flo and the other, and they said, which commercial do
commercial?
you want to watch? You gotta pick
Neither.
one. Or well, they'll pick one for you, but you gotta watch one. So okay.
I love this ties in a little bit, but I heard some testimony from a medical professional talking about why Trump's idea to lower prescription drug costs in this country can't work, because this is where we do all the research, and those profits pay for the research that give us new drugs and new medication, which keep people sick forever. But I'm sorry, that's an aside. And he failed to mention how much they spend on advertising every year.
Tons.
And interesting. I can't wait for them to finally ban advertising for drugs, prescription drugs on television.
Aren't we? U.S. just one of only 2 countries that allow it? No.
Yes, New Zealand is the other, and they have restrictions on it too. So it's not just wide open.
One after the other, after the other, after the other.
There are, I don't know what the restrictions are. It's just when I heard it discussed by officials, they were talking about how it's New Zealand, but that it is restricted in how they do it. Where in the United States, it's wide open, and basically every show now targets you with these prescription drug.
We just had one on in our last break, by the way, for AbbVie.
It's
Out of hand.
Kennedy made a good point, and I know some people don't particularly like what he has to say, but one of the points he made was when the government is buying medication for people, they are essentially paying a cost that includes from the pharmaceutical companies the cost of that advertising, which means
Well, yeah.
their advertising on TV drives up the cost of the stuff that the government's paying for Medicare and Medicaid patients, and that's just not fair that we should be paying the bill for the advertising done by prescription drug companies. If they want to advertise to retail purchasers, fine, but that's not what's going on.
All right.
You didn't want to talk about him swimming in bacteria yesterday?
Oh, we talked about that yesterday.
Did I miss that? Oh, you talked about that yesterday? Never mind.
Swimming in that creek down in
The what?
wherever it is. Robert Kennedy and his grandsons over the weekend swam in some creek. I can't remember what state it was in.
Doesn't matter.
But
There was E. coli and bacteria.
That's
in
right.
it. He was
There's
trying to make
big
a point.
signs off that says there's bacteria in the river, no swimming. But he did it anyway, and nothing came of it. So.
Yet.
He hasn't been arrested or anything.
Stay tuned.
I thought you meant about him getting sick.
No, well, not yet. Anyway, we got to run the show. The show's come to an end.
Oh.
Goes by so quickly. Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me. See you next week.
All right. And Amanda LaRose, thanks for coming in. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And John, always a pleasure.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you all, and go out and enjoy the God-given day.
Very good. This is Joe Callahan. Have a great day. We'll talk to you at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do your members up after the 9 o'clock news.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. President Trump is